All right, so according to Pride of Detroit, I think this is very interesting. We're talking about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and I think this is very interesting, man. Pride of Detroit, shout out to those guys. They do this all the time. Although I think Jeremy Reisman, man, he loves Matthew Stafford. Like you can't say any. He also does not like golf. You can tell. Says Detroit Lions approval. Dan Campbell. We usually see these about Brad Holmes, but this is from today. Do you approve of the job Dan Campbell is doing as head coach of the 4-7 Detroit Lions? It still seems weird. We could have been 5-6. We could have been a lot of things. But the question that I put before the chat and people who watch this on playback, do you approve of what is your approval like rating of Dan Campbell? Now they do it in percent, we'll do it in stars, right? So on the scale, 5 stars being the best, you can do 3.5, 2.5. His approval rating. All right, so they have a poll. They do this once a month, I believe. And the question is, do you approve of the job Dan Campbell is doing as Lions head coach? When he got hired, the man hadn't even coached yet for the Detroit Lions. In January of 2021, it was 78%. July of 2021, it was 97%. That is how ready we are to believe in something. The guy hadn't even coached the Detroit Lions yet, and he had a 97% approval rating from Pride of Detroit's poll. October 2021, remember we hadn't won a game, 95%. November 2021, we hadn't won a game, 88%. December 2021, 98%. And when we ended the season, 98%. In September of 2022, 98%. So if you're following along with me, 3 consecutive that they have on there, polls of 98%. In October of this year, 80% approval. Now, in October, we had only won the 1 game. So what do you guys see? I see it be 97, 98 for sure. Nate says 65%, 3.5 stars, 4 out of 5, 4. 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5. Patty says 3 out of 5. 5 out of 5, says Nolan. 4 out of 5. So that means that Dan Campbell is the guy. Dan Campbell is the guy. That's what y'all saying, right? So we're over the 6-1 start. We're over that. Dan Campbell is the guy. That's what y'all saying. I want him to be the guy. I really do. I said that from the beginning. I want him to be the guy. Durbin says, love the channel, bro. Keep the videos coming. I work at the DAC downtown, and one of the members going out of town for New Year's gave me Bears tickets, free super close. Well, that should be a great one. I approve he got them playing hard. As long as he continues to progress and nothing falls apart, I want to keep rolling with him. KD, that's a good one, man. Because I think that's the point. The point is him progressing, right? The goal is for you to learn from your mistakes. He said it's only failing if you don't learn from your mistakes. Everybody fails. Everybody needs to progress, right? To get a 4, he would be in the division hunt with the team as assembled now. Patty says he's getting better every game, learn from his mistakes. Yeah, I think he's going to have brain farts like he did last week with the clock management. Sometimes I feel like he need to lay off the lattes just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm watching him do these press conferences. I'm like, bruh, when can anybody name a moment since Dan Campbell was hired that he's been still? I'm talking about entire body still. I don't think you can. But I just worry about the man's safety. But I want this guy to be the guy. The meathead, the kneecap speech, the mockery that was us being had, right? I want him to be the guy. I would love to see Brad Holmes, this tandem work out. Nick says, speaking of progress, what was our record this time last year? We were no wins. I know that. We had tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We had to be 0-9-1, somewhere around there. Nope. We were 0-10-1 because week 13 was our first win. So that's my final answer, Nick. 0-13, 0-10-1. I think Nick's point was progress. We have already surpassed our win total for 2021, and we still have 6 games to go. And I think the Detroit Lions got 3 more in them. I think realistically, we're looking at 7-10. And man, that's going to hurt. That 7-10 is going to hurt. Because I believe, even with the atrocious defense that we have, maybe if it wasn't utterly atrocious, then we could be up there with the Minnesota Vikings. If you look at our losses, 3 points, 4 points, we led against the Miami Dolphins. So Dan Campbell probably going to end the November poll with a 98% or higher. His lowest was when he got hired at 78%. That's the lowest it's been since he's been hired, even though we didn't win a game until week 13 of last year. So what do you think? 1 out of 5. What is your thoughts on Pride of Detroit's approval rating? And what would you rate Dan Campbell?